What if the greatest warrior in history didn't carry a sword, but a mind sharper than any blade? The sky splits open. Thunder crashes. From the head of Zeus, the king of gods himself, bursts a radiant figure in gleaming bronze armor, not crying, not crawling, but shouting, sword raised, shield flashing with divine light. Her name is Athena. The gods step back, not out of fear of her power, but because they know this child wasn't born like the rest. She was born from thought, born not in a womb, but in a mind, not with love, but with purpose. And from her very first breath, she was destined to change how the world understood power. Athena was not just a goddess. She was the first idea, the embodiment of strategy, discipline, and righteous war. But here's the truth they won't tell you. The gods never fully trusted her. Men feared her more than they feared chaos, and the world never deserved her. So, who was this divine warrior of wisdom? Why did even her own father try to suppress her before she was born? And why, in a world ruled by brute force, did a woman with a calm voice and a cold plan become one of the most dangerous beings in all mythology? This is not just a story about a goddess. It's the story of what happens when intellect stands alone against the storm. Before Athena ever took her first breath, she was a problem. Not for mortals, not even for monsters, but for the king of the gods himself, Zeus. You see, the story begins not with a battle, but with a prophecy, a whisper from the fates. The child of Metis will surpass the power of her father. Now Metis wasn't just any goddess. She was the titaness of wisdom, the mind behind the throne. She advised Zeus, sharpened his thinking, gave him the clarity to win the Titanomachy, the war of the gods against their parents. She was not his lover. She was his equal, and that terrified him. Because the prophecy didn't say, son. It said child. And for someone like Zeus, who ruled with thunder and ego, even the possibility of being overshadowed was unbearable. So, in a moment of desperate brilliance, Zeus swallowed Metis whole, not killed, not banished, consumed. He believed he'd outwitted fate, but the gods should know better. You can't destroy wisdom by swallowing it. You only make it grow deeper inside you. And so, inside Zeus's head, a storm began to brew. Days turned to weeks, then months, then agony, visions, screaming headaches, flashes of war, logic, invention, chaos, all fighting inside his skull. Until one day, in front of all Olympus, Hephaestus, the god of fire and forge, was summoned, not to craft a weapon, but to split Zeus's head open. With one swing of his hammer, the sky cracked, and she emerged, Athena, fully grown, clad in armor, eyes like storm-lit marble, spear in hand, shield gleaming, and not a trace of fear. She didn't cry. She didn't crawl. She stood. The gods gasped. Even Zeus stepped back, because in that moment they all realized something chilling. They hadn't just witnessed the birth of a goddess. They had witnessed the birth of conscious will. Athena didn't come to be through passion or lust. She was an idea, made flesh. She was power with principle, wisdom with wrath. A warrior who saw every war as a test of mind before might, and the universe would never be the same. Ares charged into battle with a roar. Athena stepped into battle with a plan. To many, war is chaos, blood and steel, noise and fury. But to Athena, War was a chessboard, a place where minds clashed long before swords did, and that made her more dangerous than any brute. Unlike her half-brother Ares, the god of rage and blind violence, Athena represented strategic warfare. Not war for war's sake, but war for justice, order, and survival. When cities prayed to her before battle, they didn't ask for brute strength. They asked for clarity, for foresight, for the ability to win without being consumed by the fire of war. Because Athena knew something the other gods didn't. Victory without purpose is just a prettier form of failure. Let's look at the Trojan War. Everyone knows about Helen, Achilles, Paris. But behind the scenes, it was Athena who tipped the scales. It was her idea, whispered into the minds of men, to build a hollow wooden horse, fill it with warriors, and offer it as a gift. The Trojan horse wasn't just a trick. It was a testament to her philosophy. Let your enemy's pride become your weapon, and it worked. Troy burned, not because of brute force, but because a goddess taught mortals how to outthink even the strongest walls. But Athena didn't just help destroy cities. She also built them. In Athens, her namesake city, she taught people how to govern, how to debate, how to balance freedom with responsibility. She didn't scream commands. She whispered truths. While Ares celebrated blood, Athena designed civilizations. She was the goddess of warriors, yes, but also of philosophers, architects, and lawmakers. And that is what made her terrifying to the gods, because any fool can destroy. But only the truly powerful can create after the dust has settled. And when you give mortals the tools to think for themselves, you make them harder to control. Athena was a threat not because she fought the gods, but because she taught humans how not to need them. Athena didn't need to lift a sword to shape the world. She forged legends, not from iron, but from intellect. And the greatest heroes of Greek mythology? They didn't win because they were the strongest. They won because she taught them how to think. Let's start with Perseus, the young demigod tasked with the impossible. Kill Medusa, the Gorgon whose gaze turned men to stone. Every warrior before him had failed. Brute strength meant nothing against a monster that could kill with just a glance. But Athena didn't hand him a sword and say, "Go." She gave him a mirror-polished shield, because sometimes the best way to win is to look without looking. Perseus used the reflection to avoid Medusa's deadly gaze, striking her down not with rage, but with restraint and precision. That was Athena's gift, to make men clever in moments where others only knew how to panic. Then there was Odysseus. No hero was more favored by Athena, and it wasn't because he was noble. Odysseus lied, cheated, tricked gods and monsters alike, but he was brilliant, and Athena saw herself in that brilliance. She stood by him through a decade-long war, then guided him home through 10 more years of storms, seduction, and suffering. Why? Because Odysseus wasn't just trying to get home. He was trying to outwit a universe that wanted him to break. And Athena, the goddess of wisdom, could never resist a mind that fought the odds by thinking 3 steps ahead. But perhaps the most telling example is one few remember: Bellerophon, the man who rode Pegasus and slew the Chimera. Athena didn't hand him the winged horse. She gave him the golden bridle in a dream, the one thing powerful enough to tame a creature of the skies. Again, she didn't give him strength. She gave him the key to command strength. You see the pattern? Athena didn't make heroes immortal. She made them human and extraordinary, because what she taught them, and us, is this: that true power isn't in the body, it's in the choice. The choice to think before swinging the sword, to question before obeying, to win without destroying yourself. The gods admired Athena, but they did not love her. And that was no accident. In Olympus, power came in two forms: raw force and divine charisma. Zeus had both. Aphrodite had beauty. Apollo had prophecy and light. But Athena had something no one could control: independent thought. She didn't obey. She didn't seduce. She didn't plead. She advised kings, outwitted titans, and shaped cities without ever needing approval. That made her dangerous, because while Ares could be manipulated with flattery, and Dionysus could be distracted with wine, Athena could not be moved by anything but logic, and logic in the divine world is the greatest threat of all. Consider this: Athena never married, never took a lover, never bore children. Why? Some say she was cold, others say she hated men, but the truth may be far more calculated. She knew that attachment weakens judgment, that desire bends principles, that emotions, however sacred, can cloud strategy. She didn't avoid love out of fear. She did it out of discipline. That terrified the other gods. Because if power doesn't seduce you, how can it control you? Even her fellow goddesses viewed her with suspicion. While Hera ruled with jealousy and vengeance, and Aphrodite with allure, Athena stood apart, a warrior of the mind. And in that distance, they saw danger. Athena's wisdom illuminated others, but it also cast shadows, like when she cursed Medusa, turning a victim into a monster, or when she aided heroes who defied the gods themselves. Was she just? Yes, but her justice had no mercy. And gods, like humans, fear what they cannot soften. She was not the goddess of compassion. She was the goddess of consequence. And in Olympus, where immortals played games with mortal lives, Athena refused to play. She didn't flirt. She didn't scheme. She simply spoke truth, that no matter how cold it sounded. That made her noble, but also alone, because the price of wisdom is seeing too clearly to belong fully anywhere. Athena never died. She simply changed form. You won't find her atop Mount Olympus, but you might see her in the quiet determination of a lawyer fighting for justice, in the young girl raising her hand in a room where no one believes she's smart enough to speak, in the engineer staying up all night solving a problem no one else understands. Because Athena isn't just a myth. She's a mindset. She lives in the moments we choose strategy over force, dialogue over dominance, creation over destruction, in classrooms where curiosity is protected, in courtrooms where facts still matter, in war rooms where the smartest plan isn't the one with the biggest bomb, but the one that saves the most lives. She is alive in the tired mother who figures out how to stretch one meal into 3, in the disabled student who outthinks a system built against them, in the refugee who, despite being stripped of everything, never loses their clarity. Athena is anyone who solves a problem without becoming part of the problem. And that might be her greatest legacy, because the world today doesn't need more conquerors. It needs architects of peace, of truth, of resilience. And if you listen carefully, you might still hear her voice. Don't just survive. Understand. Don't just speak. Think. Don't just win. Win with purpose. In a world of shouting, she whispers. In a world of chaos, she sketches blueprints. And if gods walk among us still, Athena walks in silence, leaving ideas in her footsteps. So now you've heard her story. A goddess born from a headache, who grew into a force that could outthink gods and guide mortals. But this was never just about mythology. It's about you. Because in every moment where you choose clarity over confusion, courage over chaos, wisdom over impulse, you become part of her legacy. You don't need armor. You don't need a spear. You need only the one weapon she always trusted most, your mind. Let the world rage. Let others scream louder, fight harder, burn brighter. But you build, you question. You protect those who cannot protect themselves, not because it earns you glory, but because it's right. That's Athena. And if you think she's only a goddess of the past, look again. She's the strategist in every revolution, the silent thinker behind every innovation, the steady hand guiding civilizations through storms. So the next time the world asks you to react with anger, pause, think, decide. Because every time you choose reason in a world of noise, you're not just remembering Athena, you are becoming her.